guys, how's it going? So today I want to talk about serviceberry trees. I think they are fairly underused in the landscape and they're so beautiful. They're so showy every single season of the year, and they produce edible berries. And mine happen to have, I've got two in my garden, one of which happens to have a really wonderful crop of berries for really the first time. So I thought we would harvest some and then go bake some muffins. My mother-in-law has a wonderful muffin recipe, so I asked if she wouldn't mind sharing it with us, and so she did. It's an apple streusel muffin recipe that you add berries into, whether it be serviceberries or huckleberries or blueberries, anything like that. So I thought this would be the perfect time to try it out myself. Before we head out in the landscape and look at the serviceberries, I've got two autumn Brilliance serviceberries out there. I thought I'd run over a few details. First off, there are a lot of varieties of serviceberries, starting off with kind of like the native ones that you would find naturalizing in forested areas. And a lot of those aren't even like tree form like the ones that we see or that I have in my garden. A lot of them are kind of more shrubby plants. And then there are newer hybrids like the autumn Brilliance. I'm familiar with spring flurry, and there's probably a whole slew of other varieties out there. But that kind of goes with most plant categories. You have like the old native, and then you have newer improved versions of that older plant. But they share similar characteristics. So 4 seasons of interest, first of all. I mean, they're beautiful all year round. In the spring, they come out with masses of buds, flower buds that are kind of a light pink, and then they open up to just big clusters of white flowers on bare branches. Like, it's so showy and so striking, and those flowers just bring in the pollinators like crazy. And then after the flowers, they start forming their little berries. So the berries are green, and then in summer, usually like early to midsummer, those berries ripen, and they go all the way from a bright red, which I have some representation on mine of the bright red, all the way to like a deep purple, almost like a purple blue, and that's when they're fully mature. But you'll see, because these berries, they kind of all ripen at different times. It's not like a once and done harvest. It's kind of like you just harvest ripe ones as they come, you know. So summertime, you have the beautiful berries to look at, and then you've got the leaves, which are kind of a blue-green color. And then fall rolls around, and you guys, I can't even put into words what a serviceberry looks like in the fall. I mean, the most brilliant orange, red, scarlet. I mean, just absolutely glorious. My parents actually have an autumn Brilliance in their entryway. It is the entryway tree that kind of goes over the walkway, and I may have some pictures or footage of when that was in spring color, or I could ask my mom and see if she's got a picture, because it's just, you really can't compare anything to it. It's so beautiful. And then once the leaves fall, they've got a really beautiful form, really smooth gray bark, and they look beautiful with a little dusting of snow on them. They're also highly disease resistant, and they're really adaptable to different types of soil and different soil pH, which really benefits us because we've got super high pH. See, doesn't it sound like something you need to have in your yard? I just feel like they're underused both for landscape specimens and as an edible berry, because the berries are super tasty. So I'm gonna go show you mine, both of which are young. I planted the first one here that I'm gonna show you, let's see, 3 years ago, and then the other one I just planted this spring. One is a single trunk, one is a multi-trunk. Let's head out there. Okay, so starting here at the end of our west side garden, you can see the serviceberry, which I actually need to stake it. I just kind of noticed as I was standing here looking straight on, it's kind of cruising that way. We need to stake it back a little bit. But this one I planted, it was a 5-gallon size shrub when I planted it, and it was quite a bit smaller. It only came up to about the top of the stake here, which you can see the stake right there, and it's grown quite a bit in 3 years. But it's got the most beautiful berries right now. Gorgeous. Now, not all of them are fully ripe, because you can see like this one here is a lot lighter color. There's some deeper colored ones, and you can wait till they even get darker colored than this, but then you will be racing the birds for this fruit unless you want to net the tree. That right there looks a little closer to fully ripe berry. I think they have a really pleasing look. Like, I like the shape of the leaves, the color, the berries are of course gorgeous. I love the fact that I've got something edible here, either for myself or for the wildlife, honestly. Like, if I don't get to them one year, the birds can have at them, and it's all a win in my book. And these berries, after you harvest them, will ripen further. They're kind of like an apple in that way. In fact, apples and serviceberries are in the same family. So if you wanted to harvest them a little bit earlier when they're not fully ripe, you can do that. That way you may get a little bit more harvest without sacrificing as many to the birds. When you pick them, when they're that deep purple blue color, they are sweeter and a little bit more intensely flavored, I guess you could say. I like like them at any stage though. I like them at the stage they're at right now. I feel like they're still really sweet. Some of them have a tiny bit of a tartness to it, which I kind of like to use in baking. So it just kind of depends on when you want to do it. Also, when you let them mature fully and they're that deeper color, the berry's a lot more delicate. So you need to keep that in mind. If you need them to hold up in a recipe, harvesting them a little bit younger might be a better idea. In fact, Samantha and I came out here last night and I harvested enough for the muffins and I put them in the freezer. So the recipe I was reading through, my mother-in-law's recipe, and it said to use frozen huckleberries. So I thought, well, I could probably use fresh, but I'm gonna just go by the recipe here and I'm gonna freeze some, but I am gonna pick some today as well. A lot of people kind of compare these to blueberries, like an easier blueberry to grow, and their nutrient profile is very similar to that of a blueberry as well, except they actually have higher levels of antioxidants and calcium, fiber, vitamin C, all of those things. But look at all of these. You see all of these berries? They're just beautiful. And if you can have an ornamental tree that provides such beauty and gives you all of this food, that's so fun. The berries do have seeds in them though. They aren't huge and they don't bother me, and usually I don't like grapes that have seeds in them. They're not like that. So if that's something that bothers you, that's something to consider. And the tree does tend to want to sucker a bit. In fact, you can see them on my tree. See? It's trying really hard to fight against those roots of wanting to be that bushy kind of shrubby plant. So we just need to come in and cut those out. Maybe I can do that when I stake it. Okay, let me show you the multi-trunk one way out on the new property. It's way over there. Start walking. I just planted these sumacs out here yesterday too. I needed to come out here anyway and take a look at them. They look good. Nice. And here's our serviceberry. Now this one you can see is a multi-trunk. So what I plan to do as it grows up, I'll remove all of this kind of lower growth here because I want them to be pretty clean branches, I don't know, several feet up into the tree. So that'll just be something I need to do as we go along, but it's gonna be gorgeous. I mean, it already is. There's a few little berries you can see. It bloomed here. We had it when it was blooming and it went through a horrible windstorm and the wind just shredded the tree. It wasn't planted yet and it knocked the tree over and it was like blowing all the blooms against the grain, and so I didn't really expect much. So next year I think we'll have really nice berries on it. Here's some more. I need to bring Benjamin out here. He would love these. I've even considered putting a few more out here, like maybe putting one right in here and maybe one back in there, so I could have a nice big kind of almost thick shrubby wall. However, my neighbors have the most gorgeous wall already. Anyway, I'm really happy about having this one out here and excited to watch it grow. Let's head back to the first one. I'm gonna pick a cup of berries so that I can get them in the freezer actually. I would like to have them in there so I could make more muffins. They are so delicious and I hope that they turn out the way that Sue makes them. She brings them to us on occasion and they're just so good. Benjamin may want to get in on the baking action as well. Okay, so I've got my berry cup here, but a couple more things. Something I thought was interesting because you might see this tree referred to as several different things. So Serviceberry, Amelanchier is a botanical name. You might see them referred to as Juneberry because that's when the berries ripen. Shadblow or shadbush, I don't know why. And then the berries, I've seen them referred to as Saskatoon berries or wild plums or sugar plums. And the other thing is that serviceberries typically ripen at about the same time as cherries are starting to come off. And so sometimes some people will plant serviceberries near their cherries so that the birds go after the serviceberries and leave their cherries alone. I don't know if that works, but that would be pretty awesome if it did. Let's see how many we can get. Okay, but first, you guys, these white wands veronica are directly in front of the serviceberry. Look at all the pollinators. Can you see all of the different species going on here? If you want to plant a pollinator garden, get yourself some white wands veronica. I'm not even kidding ya. These are amazing. Now those look like some pretty darn good berries, don't they? Oh, I'm so excited. Now again, the darker colored ones are more mature and they will be sweeter, but they are more delicate, so the berries want to smush a little bit easier. So do keep that in mind. The lighter colored ones won't have quite the amount of sweetness, but I still think that they're fantastic. So let's take these inside. Okay, if you guys want an honest reaction to how these taste. Hey Benjamin, you want to come taste one of these berries?
Thank you. Can I have it?
Well, why don't you try that one? Tell me what you think.
Blueberry.
It tastes like blueberries? Okay, we don't need to freeze any. Here, put the basket down in the bowl, or you can pour them. Yep. Whoa. What do you think, bud?
It tastes good.
Tastes good? Yeah. Okay, so I think I've got pretty much everything laid out. These are the frozen service berries that Samantha and I picked last night. And then we've got regular flour, whole wheat flour, an apple. We're gonna use half a banana, some flaxseed, honey, baking soda, salt, cinnamon, baking powder, Greek yogurt. We're gonna grab butter out at the end because it needs to be cold, but I've already lined the muffin tin and I greased them all, and then I've got all of my measuring spoons and bowls and such. But anyway, this is the recipe. So Sue sent me a picture of it last night, and I don't know how much of that you guys can see, but I will type it up down below. Anyway, I'm super hoping these turn out just the way that Sue makes them. Okay, so first we're gonna combine all the dry ingredients in a bowl.
No, 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 no.
Just put it down in the bowl. We're gonna do a cup of whole wheat flour now. Flaxseed. Yes. I'm going to do a tablespoon of baking powder.
Baking powder. Yes.
Go. Great job. Okay, now how much baking soda do we need? Half teaspoon. You want to film the next step? I'm going to put in some cinnamon.
Oh, you see it in a pan.
Yeah. You know what, Benjamin? We need to go get eggs.
Look.
I see it. Looks beautiful.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, bud, you ready to make the streusel topping?
Yes.
Okay, so let's show everybody our batter. Doesn't that look delicious? It smells good too. You can see the berries in there and the apple. I can smell the honey. And now we are gonna do the streusel, which is brown sugar, right here, whole wheat flour, flaxseed, cinnamon, and butter. Okay, that goes in the bowl. Yum. Get it closer to the bowl, sweetie. There you go, perfect.
I'm gonna smash.
You wanna smash it?
I will smash it.
Okay.
I got some.
Yeah, you smashed it good, bud. Good job. Whole wheat flour, 3 tablespoons. Now we're gonna do flaxseed. There we go. Now we'll do some cinnamon. Yep, put it all in the bowl, and we're good to go. Okay, why don't you stir that up with that spoon? Can you do that?
This one?
Sure, that spoon's great. Stir it all together. Good job, buddy. Okay, now we need to put the cold butter in here. We're going to just mix all of this together until it resembles coarse crumbs. Okay, bud, so we have our batter done. What we need to do, is fill each one of these cups 2/3 of the way full with a batter, and then we do 1 tablespoon, I think. Is it 1 tablespoon? Oh, no, around a teaspoonful of the streusel on top of each one.
Okay.
Okay. They're all done. I've got the streusel on top, so now they need to go in a 400-degree oven for 18 to 20 minutes. And while we're waiting, I think I'm gonna dry these, dehydrate them instead of freezing them. I think that would be fun to try. So this is the kind of dehydrator I went with last year. I bought this last fall when I was prepping to dehydrate a bunch of apples. And I really like it because, one, it's quiet, so I can have it in the kitchen and we don't notice it so much. And it's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11 trays in it, which I like. And I like the glass door so I can see what's going on in there. And there's also a light. I don't have it plugged in though. So I'm gonna need to line one of the trays right here with a dehydrator sheet and then just spread my berries out, I think. They turned out so good. Look at that glorious pile of muffins right there. And I tested one inside. That's why I don't have one for the very tippy top of my mountain here. Look at that with the yummy streusel. Let me open one up and show you. And look at them on the inside. Like, they're nice and moist. They baked perfectly. And the berries added just the perfect amount of tart. I love it. I did ask Benjamin if he wanted to come out and try one of the muffins, and he said, "Not right now, Mama. I'm good." So he went to all the work helping me, and he doesn't want to try one, but I'll have him try one a little bit later. Here comes Aaron, though. You want to try one?
Sure. Well, these look good.
Do you think there's caramel in there? Isn't that good?
Yeah. I like the crumble part.
I think it's necessary because there isn't actually sugar, and there's honey in the muffins, but there's also whole wheat flour.
Is it like a healthy?
Kinda, yeah. It's got like Greek yogurt in it, and honey and flax seeds and whole wheat flour. It's like half and half white flour with whole wheat flour. So I think the brown sugar being on the top, like, kind of, it's the perfect amount of sweet for the muffin. Yeah. Well, they passed the Aaron test. We'll see if they pass the Benjamin test. But I have really enjoyed these muffins throughout the years every time Sue brings them over. So it's super exciting that I now have the recipe, and you guys should definitely give it a try. And I would encourage you, if you have space to plant a serviceberry, I would do it. They are such a beautiful tree, and they offer so much to you in the garden, both as a specimen with its beautiful fall color and the spring blooms and the structure of the tree, and then also the fruit. It's just an all-around really great tree. They can withstand pretty cold areas, and they're zone 4 through 9, so they can't grow in areas above a zone 9 because they need to have a certain amount of cold period in order to be productive plants. So anyway, if you live within those zones, those growing zones, and have the space, definitely think about a serviceberry because they're wonderful. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe enjoyed a little bit of a change of pace with the baking. And I'll let you guys know how the serviceberry drying goes. I have them in my dehydrator sitting on the counter, and I just set them to go for an hour, and I'm just going to check them every hour because I'm not sure how long exactly they should dry in there, but I think that they will last a little bit longer dried as opposed to freezing them, because little bags like that tend to get lost in my freezer, and then they'll get freezer burned and I won't be able to use them. I kind of just know myself that way. So dried, I think, is the way to go. So I'll let you know how that goes. Thanks so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.